woman is not a crime. It's not wrong. And each time we decide, like the judge in this story I'm about to share decided, what we are telling women, the message we are sending across into the society is that being a woman is wrong. And being a woman is not wrong, has never been wrong, and will never be wrong. So what happened in this story? Apply for land ownership. Apparently, before then, married women in Botswana cannot own land. Can you imagine? Land. L-A-N-D. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Bar Talk with Ola, and I am Mojola Oluwa, your favorite lawyer in the building. Votre avocat préféré dans l'immeuble. Agbẹjọ́rò yín tí ẹ fẹ́ràn jùlọ, òun ni Mojola Oluwa, and eléyìí ni Bar Talk with Ola. Today I want to share with you a very interesting story, brief but very interesting. Now, if you have followed me on other social media channels, especially if you read my blog, omlivingstones.wordpress.com, and if you follow me on LinkedIn, you would know that I am very particular, very persuaded, and very passionate about gender equality. I believe that we need an equitable society. It's good for all of us, not just for women. And I just feel that, patriarchy will do nobody rather. Will do us no good. So I'm very particular and very, very much interested in gender equality. That's the SDG 5, and I talk about it from time to time. I also try to mirror my experiences as a lawyer in the light of gender equality, gender inequality, patriarchy. In fact, I have a series on my blog. It's an interview series where I talk to women about gender inequality. I just want them to share their own experiences, and you'd be surprised at the different varied experiences that different women have. I remember that I spoke to a senior lawyer on the last one, and she was telling me about how she went for a meeting and a man came in, met about 4 of them, and he actually greeted the other men and just left the women. Can you imagine? Just look at that. I'm going to leave the link in the description box so that you can read up all those interviews. There's another one that I had with a young lady, Ifeanyi Ibebu. Oh my God, you need to read that interview. It's so all encompassing. I know that I interviewed another lady once, and she was talking about how she always had good grades. She had a good grade in her degree, and when she was getting a second degree, one of her classmates was telling her that you won't find a man to marry you if you keep getting first class, so many things. And there are some women that I have also spoken to that do not have this kind of inequality experiences, but I like to hear from different women, because I just believe that, if we keep talking about this, I know that people say that talk is cheap, but my own belief is that this kind of talk is not cheap, because this issue has been with us for long. We need to address it by all means possible. And my own means is by talking about it and getting other people to talk about it. Talking creates awareness. Awareness brings solutions. Because if you don't realize that you have a problem, you won't even think about solutions first. And another issue I have is that, people are usually triggered when they see that you're talking about gender inequality. I understand that, over the years, many women, they have held lopsided views on gender equality, gender inequality, on a patriarchy, and on I think it should be patriarchy. Hey, your grammar. Okay, on patriarchy and on feminism, that very much abused word. So I know that when you start talking about feminism and all of that, people are usually triggered. But this is my own view of gender inequality. I believe that we need an equitable society. I believe that each person, male or female, should be able to do everything that they have the ability to do without the door being shut in their faces just because they are of a particular gender. So let everyone try. Let there be a level playing field. And if somebody fails, let them bear the brunt. If somebody does well, let them bear the glory. So that's my belief. I believe that we need an equitable society, and I believe it can come by giving equal opportunities to males and females. I'm not saying that male and female are the same. They are not the same. Of course not. They can never be the same. If they were the same, God would just make one sex. But because we are not the same and can never be the same, God has made us differently. But what I'm saying is that let each person have the opportunity to try. If they fail, fine. If they pass or if they succeed, then let them take the glory or let them take the shame if they fail. So that's my view. Equal opportunities, not equality, not sameness of sex, but equality of opportunities. And it's very important. And I over the years, I've been able to, trace the pattern of patriarchy and gender inequality, even as a lawyer in the practice of law. I think that my profession is one of the fairest, if I might say, because whether you're the bar or the bench, I think that and thankful. We are very thankful. I am very thankful to the women that have gone ahead of us to chart this course, because I know that it wasn't handed in a platter of gold. So I'm very much thankful, and I appreciate the women that have fought for gender inequality over the years. Usually women that are fighting for gender inequality, society kind of castigates them, and say some manner of things about them. But whether there are even some people fighting for gender inequality whose views I am not completely in sync with. But like I said to someone, I say that even if I don't agree with your views on gender inequality or gender equality to an extent or in some cases, I strongly believe that, this battle that each person is fighting individually, they are like little drops of water. They will make a mighty ocean. We are shattering the ceilings bit by bit. So this person is doing it the way they know how to do it best. You are doing it the way you know how to do it best. At the end of the day, we're going to have an equitable society. So nobody is anybody's enemy, and you shouldn't make people your enemy. So I use an hashtag. I usually say, why are you triggered when I speak of patriarchy, or why are you triggered when I speak of gender inequality? So if you're triggered too when people speak of these things, you need to sit down and have a tete-a-tete with yourself. Like, why are you triggered? Is it because what they're saying is not valid? Is it because what they're saying does not apply to you? Is it because you just don't want them to say what they're saying? Like, you need to look inward. It could be that you're a facilitator or a perpetrator of gender inequality in your own rights, and you need to change it. Another thing that we need to understand is that this is not a one-day battle. And recently I've come to understand that there's no finite end to gender inequality. It's something that we must achieve daily, minute by minute, day by day. So even if you're in a situation where you've already achieved gender equality for yourself, you can't rest and say, oh, the battle is won, because in the next situation you find yourself, you must be able to ensure that gender justice is done, gender equality is achieved too. So it's something that women all over the world need to negotiate for themselves daily, and men as well. We all need to put our hands together to achieve the equitable society and to maintain it and to sustain it. Gender inequality is a reality. I once interviewed someone that did not even believe that this thing was a reality. So I'd like to say firstly that gender inequality is a reality. That's one. The second thing is that gender equality is achievable. Believe it in your heart. You can do it. We can achieve it as a society. So I'm going to go into the story that I shared, that led to a senior lawyer, inviting me for an interview on their radio station. So I haven't seen the publication of the recorded session that we had. We had a 30-minute recorded session. I haven't seen it. If I see it, if I'm able to share it on my channel, I will do that. But before then, let me tell you what happened. The story I shared, that made them invite me for the interview. And I think that it's a marvelous opportunity to always be able to talk about gender inequality, because you don't even need money for this battle. You don't need money to join this. If you have a social media handle, you can go ahead and propagate the message of gender equality. It's very important. It's endorsed by God, because when God made us, He made us to be able to maximize all the abilities that He has given to us, not for us to be subservient to the other sex just because they have said so. So I'm not talking about submission now. I'm talking about subservience. Women have been taught, and women have been, made to be subservient. Women are not made, like we've been over the years. It's been steeped into our subconscious that we're supposed to be subservient. We're not supposed to be subservient. If we're to submit, we're submitting the context of a marriage, and that's a different ball game entirely. What most people don't even realize is that sometimes women are already subdued, so there's even nothing to submit. I mean, take for example, we submit assignments, homeworks in school. I mean, if you're not done anything, you won't have anything to submit. So most women don't even have anything to submit, and every man and most men out there are out there shouting submission, submission, submission. So please don't come at me like a man that used to come at me on LinkedIn and say that, oh, why are you teaching women not to be submissive to their husbands, or this kind of this thing, or you should look at things from a balanced point of view, you should do this. Uncle, I'm already looking at things from a balanced point of view, and the balanced point of view is showing us that this life no balance, and we won't make it balance. Now maybe they talk about this thing, say let there be balance, let there be gender parity. And when we say parity, for me, parity is not sameness of sex. Parity is sameness of opportunity. So if you want a man to be, if you're allowing men to be class captains in school, for instance, a woman should also be able to be a class captain. You shouldn't say because she's a woman she can't do it. No, let her do it first. If she fails, then we know that, oh, she doesn't have this ability by virtue of her being a woman, or by virtue of her not having the ability as an individual, not even by being a woman. But if she has the ability, please let her just go ahead and do it. Don't shut the door in her face because she's a woman. Being a woman is not a crime. It's not wrong. And each time we decide, like the judge in this story I'm about to share decided, what we are telling women, the message we are sending across into the society is that being a woman is wrong, and being a woman is not wrong, has never been wrong, and will never be wrong. So what happened in this story? It was a letter of administration case. We wanted to obtain letters of administration for a woman who had just lost her husband and the first daughter, who was about 28, 29 years old at the time. She was already an adult by the law and by all standards. So we made application to the court. There are different rules for different jurisdictions. I know there are some jurisdictions you finish everything at the registry, but this one we did it in court. So we made the application, and then the judge, after we had moved the motion, so the magistrate, who was female, then asked if the man had we made a list of the children of the marriage. So the woman looked at it and saw that there was a male, and then she asked for the male, and we were like, oh, the guy is not around, he's in school, he was writing his exams, he was in the university, was a younger son, a younger child. And then she insisted that we should produce the man, the boy. We should produce him before she grants the order. Ma, why? We argued on point of law. There's no rule of probate or rule of courts that says that you must produce a male child before a female elderly child, a female older child rather, and the mother, who are right within their rights to become administrators of the estate of the late man, before they can be granted letters of administration. But she insisted, so we had to pick an adjournment long enough for the boy to finish his exams. He was in school writing exams at the time, for him to finish exams and to come down to the state where we were, and then to go with us to court before the court granted the order. And the day we got to court, it was just for citing, like she just cited, like just to cite the boy, and then she granted the order. Like, what is the meaning of that? I don't understand why she did it. I think it's just arbitrary and it's completely unnecessary. Yes, completely unnecessary. Because what message are we sending out to females? What message are we sending out to the woman? What message? What if she did not have any male child? What message are we sending out to the society? What message are we even giving to the lady as a court? Are we saying that it's wrong that she's female? I mean, you, the magistrate, you're female. I am female, the lawyer. My principal was female too. Is female rather. What message are we sending across? And it wasn't a situation of infighting. There are some families where they'll be fighting about the properties of the late man or the late woman or whatever. There was no fighting. Everything was clear. Even the Olori Ebidas Okaibe in the matter, he went with us to court, and the judge cited him and knew that it was the Okaibe in that matter, that the matter had his full blessings. Still, she insisted that, go and bring the son. So we had to bring him before she now, assented to and gave the order for us to be granted the letters of administration of estate, of the late man's estate. So that's the story. And what I was trying to say by that is that it was very wrong for the court to have decided in that way. It was very wrong. What if they needed the letters fast enough to do some certain things and we couldn't produce the boy early enough? What would have happened in that situation? So we should never make women feel like they are in the wrong society. We should never make women feel less than who they are just because they are women. That's the message I'm passing across. I've seen this play out in different cases. I've been in divorce matters. I've been in, other administration matters. I've been in criminal matters. All sorts of matters. And I just continually see this trend of a bias, a clear bias against women. If you read the news, in the last month, last September, the Supreme Court, last month rather, in Afghanistan, women, after 3 years of agitation and advocacy, were able to finally get the right to have their names written on the birth certificates of their children. Like, what on earth? Like, is that even supposed to be like a right that somebody will just grant to you? Should you not flow from the fact that you are the mother of the child, that you should have your name on your child's birth certificate? So they just got that right in Afghanistan, and not even all stakeholders are happy with it. I'm aware, I read from the news that there are suggestions that some religious factions are against it, and you probably think it's a Western idea. The idea that, like, I spoke about a LinkedIn contact that used to, I call it attack me when I make this post and be like, oh, you need to see things from a balanced point of view. Don't teach women the wrong thing. Oh, this is not this is not that. Even when I put up a post saying that a woman can have it all, that's my motto in life. A woman can have it all. You can be a great wife, you can be a great mother, you can be a great career woman, you can be a great politician, you can be a great thought leader, you can be a great businesswoman, you can be anything you want to be as a woman. But I said that because of society we find ourselves, it's a lot more work, for women to be able to combine all fronts so that you don't have to sacrifice one thing for the other. Even when I made that post and men and women were agreeing with me in the comment section, this guy still came and said, oh, you have to make sacrifices depending on what you want. Just something that was just so unnecessary. Like, what did I say already? When people speak of gender equality, especially someone like me, I'm not trying to fight. It's not gender war. Who has the time for a gender war? It's not gender war. I just want the world to be better. Let women do what they are naturally endowed, what they have the ability to do, so that the world will be better. Look at Malala Yousafzai, fighting for women, female children in our community to be able to go to school like the male. Imagine if she did not have to fight that war. Do you know that she could have discovered the cure for coronavirus? She could have been one great scientist that would discover something marvelous, something fantastic that will make the world a better place, that will change the course of human race for better, for life. But instead, she's channeling all that energy fighting for women, for female children in our community to go to school, which should be a basic, inalienable right. So that's what I'm saying. If women did not have to always fight this battle of I can do it, let me do it. If they had that natural, not even natural now, they had that right, they had that leeway to do what they have the ability to do, like their male counterparts do. If they had that right, maybe the world, I'm so certain the world would be a better place, because we'll be channeling all this energy that we're using rather to shout and say gender equality, this and that. All this energy we'll be using it for better things. Maybe I would have written so many books that would have changed a lot. But we are still here talking about gender parity, gender equity in 2020. In Botswana, in September 2022, married women now got the right to be able to apply for land ownership. Apparently before then, married women in Botswana cannot own land. Can you imagine? Land, land. If you hear the funny things that are going on in the world, it will just annoy you. That's why sometimes they say that some people that are putting feminism on their head, they are angry. They're not really angry. I think it's a discontent that comes from a place of knowing that you can do much more, but you're just not being allowed to do it because society says so, for no justifiable reason. So please, let's make the world a better place. Gender equity is a valid movement, a valid battle. You should fight it. I should fight it. We should fight it. Fight for it rather. Fight for it together. It will work for us all. It's not man versus woman. No, it's not a fight of sexes. It's a fight for opportunities. So when next, if you're a man, for instance, when next you hear someone, if maybe a woman talking about gender inequality or gender parity, don't think of it like they're attacking your gender. Think of it as they are trying to break through a wall that is holding them back, and join them in breaking through this wall. Like I always say on my interview series on the blog, these things that we talk about, they are little drops of water that will make a mighty ocean. That's the ocean of an equitable society. And don't ever say, because I know one of the questions they asked me on the interview was that, have I ever experienced gender inequality? Before I answered that question, I said that, I see that some people say that they've never experienced it, so they say that it doesn't concern them, it doesn't bother them. It's like neighbors, thieves. They're entering your neighbor's house, but they're not entering your house. You say it doesn't concern you, it doesn't bother you. The day they will come to your house, they won't give you a notice. No. So it is for all of us. It concerns all of us. All hands must be on deck to ensure an equitable society. I know it's possible. I know it's doable, and we can start. I know that they asked me another question about some of the changes, that have some of the gender equality changes that have gone on over the years. I know that as to our laws, we are making changes. I wrote something. I reviewed the VAP law. That's the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law 2015. I reviewed it. I'll put the link in the comment box so that in the description box, so that you can read that article. I think that law has changed the face of violence against women a whole lot. That's a development, a step in the right direction when talking about gender equity. There are also some developments like labor law that women should not be employed for in the night to except they are nurses. There's no basis for that in today's society. Do you know what that means? Because some people will say that decent women should stay in their house. No, what that means is that if you're a woman and you are found at night and maybe something happens to you, maybe somebody attacks you or rapes you or anything, you can't lay claim to the fact that you're coming from work. Because they would say that, they said they should not employ you for night role, so why are you coming from work? This is the 21st century. Women have their own establishments, they have their own businesses and all of that. So if a woman has the cause to be coming back from work at night, she should be safe. Yeah, she should be secure. So that's it. So when they are saying these things, don't let's look at it from a streamlined point of view. Look at the nuances, the varied interpretations and the implications it might have. So that's what I think. That's an implication I think it might have. A woman is working, coming back from work at night, will not have protection of the law because the law has already said they shouldn't employ her for night duty. It's not right. That ain't right. And then under the penal code, there's still a provision that allows men to chastise their wives, like to beat their wives. Why should you beat a grown-ass human being? Why should you beat another human being as punishment? Because you are the husband. I don't think that's proper. I think that even if we look at it from a contractual point of view, nobody enters into a marriage with the expectation that, if you are wrong, your spouse will beat you. It shouldn't work that way. And I know that there's I think there's another There's another provision that I wanted to mention. I know that there was a time that there was this bill before the House of Assembly, and I think their bone of contention was that age of consent for little girls. I don't think that should be our contention as a nation, and that's not a reflection of who we are. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's a sad reflection of who we are. If we are still debating the age of consent, and some people want to be marrying young children, young girls, so they were not ready to push that bill. We could have done us a lot of good. And then some people were laying claims to, religious reasons, cultural reasons. They asked me at the interview about culture, like what are some of the cultural practices and everything. I quoted Bete Osimi, and I'll quote him again. He says that morality is the name that we give to conventions that do no wrong, which means that what our culture should be is whatever does us good and not harm. If we find out that something that we practiced over the years is harming us, we should change it, because we can. That's why we're human beings. Humans make culture. Culture does not make us. So if something is doing us wrong, we should change it. We should change it. So we can always change this culture. I know there's a case, I think Anekwe, there's this case, Anekwe, something and Anekwe. In that case, this just reminded me of when we were in school. When you be answering law questions, and then you have to cite all these decided cases, and then you won't even remember the case, and then you just be like in a decided case. Because if you cite it wrong, you lost the mark, so you don't want to lose the mark. So you say in a decided case, so and so. I think it should be Anekwe and Nweke. Yeah. In that case, a woman was going to be disentitled from being an administrator of her husband's estate because she did not have a male child. I mean, God gives children. And even science has proven that a man determines the sex of the children. So why would she be denied that just because she did not have male children? I think that's improper. I think that's wrong as well. And I'm glad that the court decided on that in favor of the woman. In another case, Ukeja and Ukeje, a woman was going to be disentitled from being an administrator of her husband's, of her late father's estate because she was a female child. The court also decided in her favor. If you're a female child, it doesn't make you less of a child. Yes, so a female child can administer her father's property, and a woman who does not have male children can be an administrator of her father's, can inherit her husband's estate. That's just logical, and it's just proper. So I salute the court for those two decisions. Essentially, they go back to the Constitution, which says that nobody should be discriminated against all by virtue of their sex. So that constitutional provision is very important. We must never forget it, and we must always bear it in mind. It's not only when it comes to by ethnicity that we'll remember that, oh, the Constitution says no, or maybe say by political party or by religious something. By virtue of their sex too, nobody should be discriminated against. So we must always remember that. Very important. So I think those are some of the changes in the law. I think Nigeria has domesticated CEDAW, and it's really great if we're able to implement it. Implementation is our problem in this part of the world. There are so many things that we've domesticated, so many things that we've legalized. Implementation is the cocoa. There's another practice. It's a law, actually. It's a law. If a woman marries a Nigerian man, if being a foreigner, she can become a Nigerian. It's even the Constitution, not even a law. But marrying a Nigerian woman does not make you a Nigerian citizen. I think that should be changed too. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yes, that should be changed too. That's a discriminatory law, and it's even our ground law, the Constitution. We should change that too. So we talk about these things because we know that our words have the ability to change things. Because you will speak to people about it, and so many people will realize that, oh, I didn't even know that this was discriminatory, and this is what I've been doing. And in fact, the good thing is that each time I hold my interviews, or each time I get to speak to people about this, even I am realizing some other things that I have not realized before. And it's very good to continually examine ourselves, because sometimes we can find ourselves on either sides of the debate. We could become a perpetrator, we could become a victim of gender inequality. But if we continue to subject ourselves to, to constant examination, to constant awareness and thinking, critical thinking, then we will be able to achieve that bright day of gender justice, of gender parity, where women and girls will be safe and will be able to live to their full potential, to do what they have the natural ability to do, without anybody shutting the door in their face. That's my passion. That's my preoccupation. That's all I want. I don't want a competition where we now say, oh, what the man can do, the woman can do it better. If a woman does it better, who's crying? I mean, I said something on LinkedIn the other day. I said that if you trace this COVID-19 situation, you would find out that a lot of women, a lot of states that managed COVID-19 effectively had women as their leaders, and they just got things done. So I said, well, if a woman is doing the job better than the man, who's hurt? Nobody. But essentially, we must understand that the initial battle is not for a woman to outshine the man, or for the man to outshine the woman. It's not a gender battle. It's a battle of sexes. It's a battle for opportunities, not a battle of sexes. A battle for opportunities, for open doors, for breaking through ceilings. A woman is first a human. Always remember that. And I will see you in my next video. Toodles!